think that with the climate change and the humidity and everything's changing, that we have a lot more rain, a lot more tropical storms. So I think that we get a lot more erosion occurring in the streams, which is scouring the bottom. It causes a lot of harm. I don't know how good it is for the freshwater sponge that we have in the park, because it usually attaches, to the stones and the rocks and at the bottom of the streams. I don't know if it's difficult for them to stay attached when we have all these high flow occurrences. Also for the macroinvertebrates that we have in the stream, for them to be able to stay attached to the stones and stuff in the bottom of the stream. Also get a lot of erosion and stuff, so then we have a lot of churning of the streams into the lakes, which causes the E. coli levels to be awful high. We've definitely seen a rise in the E. coli levels this year as opposed to the last couple of years. We've had to resample some of the lakes multiple times because every time we test, the levels are too high. I think that in terms of climate change, or the warming temperatures, that kind of thing for the streams, that's going to slowly be a gradual thing. So I think as we gather more and more data over the long haul, I think that in the next 10 years you might start to see a change. But I think it's going to be a gradual thing, because it's not like flipping a switch. You're not going to just see an automatic change in the composition of streams. I think gradually, species, the mayflies may start to decline, or the Helgramites, you might start to see a decline in those. I've noticed that with our sandy soils that we have in the park, we have a lot of low areas. So when we get a lot of rain, we have a lot of I guess they would be called seeps, or kind of like wetlands. We have a lot of wetlands occurring, so I don't know if that's gonna be a place for more mosquitoes, and then that would cause issues with West Nile virus, that kind of thing, to harbor those mosquitoes. So I don't know what kind of effect that's going to play, but I know there has been a lot more areas that have standing water with all the increased rain that we've had in the area. I think that we're going to have, with the shift in the temperature and the humidity, I think that we're going to have a shift from the south coming up as the temperatures rise. I think we're going to have a lot of the species that are usually found farther south going to start to creep up into the north, up this way from down in Georgia and North Carolina, and those kind of species I think are going to creep up. A lot of the blossoms and trees and stuff, even at my house, I had a lot of the trees that came out early because it was warm early, but then we ended up getting a frost that ended up killing some of the trees that we had and some of the blooms. So I think that's part of climate change, that stuff's coming out. I have noticed in the last couple of years that the invasive plants have been expanding, and we've had a lot more growth in some of the ones that grow rapidly, like Atlantis, Malaminate. I mean, they always grow fast, but they seem to be spreading a little more rapidly than normal. They've had a longer growing season because the winters have been kind of mild, so it's not like have a harsh winter. So I think some of the invasives that we didn't normally see are starting to creep into. Are going to reproduce more and produce more seeds, which is going to make it even harder to control them. So it's going to be, the sites are going to expand as they grow. So it's just going to limit our resources, spread out over the park, trying to treat all the different areas. In terms of the living wildlife within the park, I think I've noticed that a lot of the deer in the park have been having twins. I've even noticed that at home a lot of the adult does are having twins. I don't know if that's due to the abundant food sources that they have. As the season grows longer, they have more food to eat. We don't have as harsh as winter, so they haven't really been dying off due to the cold. So more deer have been surviving, more food. Water resources are plenty. Also, I've noticed that the bear in the park don't seem to be hibernating like they normally do. I think with the warmer climate, the warmer temperatures, and kind of the mild winters we have, they've been kind of staying out throughout the year, feeding throughout the winter instead of hibernating.
William Forest Park decided they wanted to become part of the Climate Friendly Parks program back in 2008. And this was an initiative that had already started. It was very popular in the Pacific West region. and we knew it was something that was going to be taken on by all the other parks in the country. So we started our data collection in our application back in 2008. The park primarily has been using youth funds and interns to get the program moving forward. We recognize that a lot of the younger generation have a real passion for climate issues, and so we've tried to harness that energy to be able to gather the information we need to be part of this program. So in 2008, 2009, we collected our first 2 greenhouse gas inventories. We started working on our climate-friendly parks application. In 2009, we submitted that to the National Park Service and the EPA, and we were approved for the program. I believe we were officially a part of the program in 2011. Our initial greenhouse gas inventory in 2008 showed that the park, between operations and visitors, was using somewhere around 1,500 megatons of greenhouse gases within an annual year. And our goal, which we have set through our Climate Friendly Parks program, is to cut that by 20%, so approximately 300 megatons of greenhouse gas. So part of becoming a climate-friendly park is going through an action planning process. That started in 2011. We worked with a contractor to sit down as a park and start to discuss some of the different ways that we could decrease our greenhouse gas emissions by 20%. And it was a very exhaustive process. We looked at everything that we could possibly do, and we tried to incorporate things that were achievable in our plan. Our plan is written, and it is available on our website. The plan basically outlines 3 main points to decrease our greenhouse gas emissions, and they are, number 1 is to decrease our use of electricity. The second part of the plan would be to decrease the amount of gas that we use, so related to our transportation, park vehicles, and even vehicles used by our visitors. And the third major piece is to decrease the amount of waste that we're using in the park.
In the hopes of addressing the effects of climate change, each sector of Prince William Forest Park has implemented changes to aid with the Climate Friendly Parks program.
Here at the Prince William Forest Parks Visitor Center, we've implemented several different things to fight against climate change. A couple of those things start with our programs that we give, such as Going Green, which focuses on our electricity, reducing our electricity and transportation, along with water, how much water we use in homes. Another one of our programs that we offer is called Talking Trash. Talking Trash is about reducing our waste into landfills that are local around the park area. As part of being a climate-friendly park, we encourage a no idle zone here in front of the visitor center, and we limit it to a 15-minute parking so it discourages from idling your vehicle. Another thing we're implementing here at Prince William Forest Park is the online reservation system on recreation.gov. It's one of our many ways that we're reducing paper waste here in the park. Not only is visitor services going green too, but so is our volunteer program. One of the things that we're implementing with volunteers is the use of a water bottle. Each volunteer, when they sign an agreement form, will now get a water bottle from Prince William Forest Park so that they can educate other visitors and other volunteers about the use of reusable water bottles.
In order to support the climate-friendly parks plan, the maintenance sector of the park has invested in a series of environmentally friendly products.
Everything that you see here, all your spray cans on these shelves, we're shooting for everything to be green within a year. We're working on that. We're shooting towards that goal. Hopefully that will happen. If you can't use a green product, what I'm told is you better have a good excuse for it.
Here at Prince William Forest Park, we recycle all used motor oil. We use our con vault and we store it, and when it gets filled, we have a company that comes and empties the con vault out, and they recycle it 100%.
Here at Prince William, we try our best to conserve fuel. We have several electric vehicles that we use within the park for our short runs and trips back and forth, like up to headquarters from here for maintenance, and also at the visitor center.
Here at Prince William Forest Park, we use all of our fallen trees from storm damage, and we use those to restore our historical cabin.
By producing the lumber here ourselves, reduces emissions from large trucks, transportation, to bring lumber from outside the park, and also fuel cost. The park encourages all our visitors to recycle trash. So every location has a commingled container that can take plastics, metals, aluminum, and also paper.
Here at Prince William Forest Park, we have 4 rain barrels in various locations across the park. We use the water it collects in order to water vegetation and newly planted trees. This allows us to be self-sufficient and use the resources that we receive naturally.
Also, to reduce energy cost and energy use, we use tankless hot water heaters throughout our facilities.
Hello, my name is Kerry Huffman. I work for the National Park Service here at Prince William Forest Park. We're here replacing these shingles. We used to have asphalt shingles, which are made out of, they're based off of petroleum. And to have a more safer, greener product, we use this EnviroShake shingle.
The EnviroShake product, it is a LEED product, L-E-E-D, so it is green. Like he said, it's made of post-industrial plastics, which is like the plastics that your new cars are wrapped in, and it also does have some wood fibers in it.
It's a lot more durable, and it'll last for up to 50 years.
All right, welcome to the life of computers, or electronics, I should say, here at Prince William Forest Park. So the life of technology here, or electronics per se. When we get ready to purchase electronics here, we look at the equipment, what its energy capacity is, and that it's an energy efficient piece of equipment. One of the ways that's just recently come out is called EPEAT. It's the overall makeup of the system, how it conserves energy, how it is actually manufactured, and its production. Once we purchase this piece of equipment, we can register it with EPEAT, or we can just leave it as is and use the equipment in its natural state. On an average, we use a computer here or a piece of electronics pretty much until it dies, or on a 4-year average. Once that piece of equipment goes out of service, we actually recycle that equipment, because some components in it may be hazardous to the environment or a non-biodegradable makeup. So then it would actually fill up the landfill. Also, while we look at equipment, we look at its energy efficiency, how well that it will actually work in the environment and keep our electrical costs down here.
So the Resource Management Division here at Prince William Forest Park is the steward of the Climate Friendly Parks program. We are acting as the keeper of all the data that we collect on an annual basis to do the greenhouse gas inventories. We're also the lead group in terms of compiling information about how the park can continue to lower its greenhouse gas inventory. We also try to lead by example, and in saying that, we take a number of steps to lessen our own impact on our greenhouse gas inventory. So things like we have a contest to make sure that we turn off all our computers when we're done at work. We're always making sure that we don't use a lot of electricity. We also choose to first use either an electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle before we use a gas vehicle, if possible. We encourage all of our employees to recycle and to compost. We have our own recycling and composting stations up here at our resource management building. One of our goals as a climate-friendly park is to educate the public and our park employees about the things that they can do to minimize their own greenhouse gas emissions. One of the education pieces that we've put together is a bumper sticker for our vehicles, particularly the low-emission vehicles, to let the public know that we are doing our best to have lower emissions in the park, and that we have a number of both hybrids and electric vehicles that we've used to replace gas vehicles that we no longer have in the fleet. And lastly, we have a fun project we're doing up here at the Turkey Run Education Center, where we're putting in a green screen that will allow vegetation to grow up on the facade of a building and protect that facade from the sun during the summertime, and to help the building remain cool, hence using less air conditioning. It's another fun project that people can do at home, and we hope when people see these projects here in the park that they can go home and try them at their house too.
As a steward of the nation's most valued public land,
the National Park Service has a special obligation
to be a leader in protecting the environment and complying with the nation's environmental laws.
Prince William Forest Park is committed to compliance,
continuous improvement, and implementing a sound environmental management program,
and demonstrating environmental leadership in the preservation and conservation of the park's cultural and natural features.
Our environmental management system is putting a focus on improving park staff's practices to support environmental excellence,
resulting in real reductions in environmental impacts.